So here you will come to know what happened to Jan when he reached his burnt house after the school. Okay? When I walked through what used to be my house after school that day, I was shocked to see how much damage there was. Whatever hadn't burned was destroyed by the water and chemicals they had used to put out the fire. He went to that site and found that whatever was remained or whatever was left, they were also destroyed because of the chemicals used by the firemen. The only material things not destroyed were the photo albums, documents, and some other personal items that my mother had managed to heroically rescue. But my cat was gone and my heart ached for her. You remember his mother kept a box outside the house. The box carried documents and photo albums. So they were safe. And he could not find his cat. So he was very much in fear. Where was his cat? There was no time to grieve. My mother rushed me out of the house. We would have to find a place to live and I would have to go buy some clothes for school. So they wanted to get all the belongings they needed at that moment, especially his bag, the books, his clothes. So his mother asked him not to repent. We had to borrow money from my grandparents because there were no credit cards, cash, or even any identification to be able to withdraw money from the bank. Everything had gone up in smoke. You can very well understand the bad situation he was going through. He did not have money. He did not even have that credit card which he could use for buying his belongings. So he had to depend upon his grandparents for all such things. That week, the rubble that used to be our house was being cleared off the lot. So the whole rubble, the remaining part of the burnt house was cleaned. Even though we had rented an apartment nearby, I would go over to watch them clear away debris, hoping that my cat was somewhere to be found. When that clearing was done, he wanted to be there and he was there so that, or in a hope that he would get back his cat, though he was residing in an apartment. She was gone. I kept thinking about her as that vulnerable little kitten. In the early morning when I would disturb her and get out of bed, she would tag along after me, climb up my robe and crawl into my pocket to fall asleep. I was missing her terribly. He was remembering the activities of his little pet, how she disturbed him, how she would come up to him and used to stay in his pocket. All such little activities remembered. It always seems that bad news spreads quickly, and in my case it was no different. He also knew that bad news spread like wildfire, and it was no different in his case also. Everyone in high school, including the teachers, was aware of my plight. Everyone in his school knew about his sad happening. I was embarrassed as if somehow I were responsible. He thought that he was responsible for the loss. See the thinking of a teenager. What a way to start off at a new school. This was not the kind of attention I was looking for. He thought that was it the start of a new school? In such a situation, he was going to start a new school. So this was very much embarrassing for him. The next day at school, people were acting even more strange than usual. I was getting ready for gym class at my locker. People were milling around me, asking me to hurry up. I thought it's strange, but in the light of the past few weeks, nothing would surprise me. A very strange and very beautiful thing happened next day in his school. He had a very pleasant feeling, very happy feeling. What was that? Let us see. He was getting ready for his gym class, and at that time he found that some children came around him. He was, it was strange for him. He thought, why? I was among all other children. Why other children are coming around me? There was a big table set up with all kinds of stuff on it just for me. They had taken up a collection and bought me school supplies, notebooks, all kinds of different clothes, jeans, tops, sweatsuits. It was like Christmas. Note this line. It was like Christmas. What he found? That there was a big table, and on the top of that, all beautiful and important things were kept. His clothes, books, notebooks, all the things. So he was so happy to find. That's why he said that it was like Christmas. What happens in Christmas? People give gifts to their near and dear ones. I was overcome by emotion. He could not control his emotions. People who had never spoken to me before were coming up to me to introduce themselves. I got all kinds of invitations to their houses. Their genuine outpouring of concern really touched me. In that instant, I finally breathed a sigh of relief and thought for the first time that things were going to be okay. I made friends that day. You knew that he had no friends in that new school. But after that incident, what happened when they came with all the gifts? They came with all the school supplies to him. He could not control his emotions, and he felt that how much concerned those new friends were for him. So that concern was a big thing for him. He noticed this concern of his new friends. So he had a big relief that day. He thought that he was not alone. He had friends. A month later, I was at my house watching them rebuild it. But this time it was different. I wasn't alone. He found them at the site of construction when his house was rebuilt. And he felt that he was not all alone. I was with two of my new friends from school. It took a fire for me to stop focusing on my feelings of insecurity and open up to all the wonderful people around me. So he here gave credit to the fire which took away all his new things, all his belongings, all his near and dear ones. So he gave credit to the fire for giving him new friends, giving him such people who were so concerned, who were so loving. Now I was sitting there watching my house being rebuilt when I realized my life was doing the same thing. You remember what kind of feeling he had when his house was burned. He felt that life was worthless. He had no hope. He wanted to die. But now that ray of hope came again and he wanted to live. Why? Because of his friends. Because of the concern, the love, the warmth of the people he got. While we sat there on the curb planning my new bedroom, I heard someone walk up to me from behind and say, "Does this belong to you?" He was planning his new bedroom, how to arrange his new bedroom. At that moment, he heard the steps of someone and a voice, "Does this belong to you?" When I turned around to see who it was, I couldn't believe my eyes. A woman was standing there holding my cat. I leapt up and grabbed her out of the woman's arms. I held her close to me and cried into that beautiful orange fur. She purred happily. my friends were hugging me, hugging the cat and jumping around. So who was there? A woman came with his cat. He was very much shocked. It was a pleasant surprise for him. He went close, took the cat and embraced her. Apparently, my cat had been so freaked by the fire that she ran over a mile away. As soon as the fire caught the house, this cat ran away from the house and ran miles and miles away from there. Her collar had our phone number on it, but our phones had been destroyed and disconnected. This wonderful woman took her in and worked hard to find out whose cat it was. Somehow she knew that this cat was loved and sorely missed. So this cat went to a house where a woman lived. She got the phone number which was there in the collar of the cat, but the phone of Jan was destroyed, so she could not contact her. As I sat there with my friends and my cat curled up in my lap, all the overwhelming feelings of loss and tragedy seemed to diminish. Now he was with all the things he wanted. He was with his pet cat. He was with his new friends whom he loved very much. And he had a very wonderful feeling at that moment. What was that? That loss and tragedy brought him back all his new things, his friends, his pet. So that loss and tragedy disappeared from his thought. I felt gratitude for my life, my new friends, the kindness of a stranger, and the loud purr of my beloved cat. My cat was back, and so was I. Now, he was very much grateful to that woman, first of all. He was grateful to his friends who reunited his feelings, who brought back all his things, and the kindness and concern of the stranger. And he felt, now my cat was back and so was I. My cat came back from nowhere, and I also came back from my tragedy, from my losses. This is how he could overcome his loss, his tragedy, his feeling, that feeling of sadness, that hopelessness to live. He did not want to live, but he regained all such feelings because of his new friends, because of that woman and the cat which came to him after a long time. So this is the story here. So how a teenager adjusted with the situation. So for that, what is required? Patience is very much important. Have patience. Be patient. Okay? Try to understand this lesson. Read the lesson properly. Thank you.